All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin. Ladies and gentlemen, my hair's out of control, so do pardon me on that. It is lockdown in Australia at the moment and can't do anything about it, so you just got to be used to it. I've got a special guest. I've been meaning to link up with this particular individual for a little while. I've seen him on Matisse's channel. Obviously, I feature on Matisse's channel. Matisse just does a lot of madness and gathers around some of the top talents over there. It's like a youth academy program that's going on over there. So I've plucked out a really good talent as well. We're going to talk a lot about West Ham today. So many things happening with West Ham, not just West Ham's rise in the Premier League at the moment, but some of the transfer business in terms of Zouma, Declan Rice, which is the hot topic as well. So we'll see what Corey has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corey. Corey, my man, how you doing?
That's the best intro I've ever had. I think I've done so many of these type of videos. I didn't get such a massive build-up. No, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I watch you and Matisse and Eunice on, what's it called? Everything Chelsea or something.
Or you can eat Chelsea.
I'll tell you what I will say, actually, is I rate that show so highly because the chemistry between you three, even as an opposition fan, is quite interesting to see because obviously...
It's the number one Chelsea show. I kid you not. Like, I've seen views on other shows. I mean, obviously, they're incredible YouTube content makers. They've got massive subscribers. But in terms of a group-related Chelsea show, I've not seen another Chelsea show that on a constant basis gets about 10 to 15K views, which is incredible. Like, I mean, it's just three boys talking Chelsea, which is unbelievable. But yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, no, it's actually so cool to watch. And I think, obviously, as a West Ham fan, as an opposition fan, you look at other people's content because it's one thing watching the game and then you want to just judge how other fans are thinking. And obviously with the Declan Rice thing, and there's so many links with West Ham, Chelsea, I'm like, I'll just keep my eye just to see if Matisse, is he stepping out of line? Is he going to dig West Ham out? To be fair to Matisse, he's a very balanced Chelsea fan, if I'm honest. Like, he does say it is. So I can't complain too much, man.
I love every now and then when you do say to him, when he steps a little bit out of line about Declan Rice, you just jump in and say, hey, behave yourself. I have to.
I was on a stream the other week. They were talking. I think we only did it in passing. Obviously, West Ham beat Newcastle, and obviously Declan got a little.
Maximin, how he went around him. And...
Someone said it on another stream I did as well, and I said, well, hang on a minute. We want to talk about the second half. We want to look at it in context because it's tough. It's tough. You've got to defend your prime asset, and he is. He's an unbelievable player, mate. Honestly.
Look, there is no doubt. You know what? I wanted to keep Declan Rice to sort of in the middle part of the situation, but since it's hot, let's really talk about this. I'm pretty sure the viewers, when this goes, premiering sometime later tomorrow, I'm sure everyone would want to know, especially from you, Corey, being a West Ham fan, a hardcore West Ham fan, to know about Declan Rice. So let's really talk about this, man. I mean, our fan base is probably split between this whole Declan Rice situation. And I'll tell you why. And I want to know your perspective from it, right? You've got one side of the fan base that just without any trigger or without anything will do many propagandas on Declan Rice just out of the blue. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole heap of Chelsea players that probably deserves the praise, but out of the blue, they'll just pick out Declan Rice and they'll start commenting a whole heap of positive stuffs about him and doing a lot of propaganda, which is fine. Each to their own. Do you know what I mean? But then there's the other group that just despises that group. That why are you doing this for a rival player? He's still a West Ham player. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you talking about Jorginho? Why aren't you talking about Kovacic? Why aren't you talking about X, Y, and Z, right? And that seems to be the biggest war at the moment in our family.
It's like family issues. We've got family
issues. So every time West Ham has a game, you'll see a plethora of Chelsea fans will be tweeting, oh, what a player. Bring him back home. And then you'll see another group saying, this is enough of this. Enough. We've had enough. And anytime Declan Rice will have a stinker or any player that goes like, say, Maximin does a bit of a trick on Declan Rice, you'll see those other side absolutely just blow up and say, oh, look at this guy. I can't believe Chelsea wants him. The way I look at it, Corey, is that Declan Rice is a sensational player. I've got no doubt about that. He's an absolute sensational player. One of the top DMs in Premier League. I think the way he played for England, I think that has to do with how Southgate probably utilizes him. I don't think he lets him play to his complete potential.
Yeah.
But I feel he's a fantastic player, although I have other options as well. That's my opinion. I don't necessarily want Declan Rice at Chelsea because I feel like there are other options available in the market. But I hate the hate that Declan Rice gets from our fan base. That's what annoys me the most, that why are you hating a good player just because he's friends with Mount? And then recently, I don't know if you've seen, Chalobah tweeted, coach tweeted him,
delete it, yeah.
and he had to delete. So I want to hear from you, man. I mean, where is Declan Rice's mindset? I mean, is he going to definitely leave West Ham one day? Do you think you guys can keep him? Is he going to come to Chelsea? Or is he going to go to Man United? Because there's the other rumor as well. Your thoughts?
This is the question, isn't it? This is the big one. How do you put so much context on it? Look, I think he does leave West Ham. I've always said to Matisse, or whenever anyone's ever asked me, I think West Ham fans are realistic. We're not silly enough to think he's going to be a West Ham player forever. I'd love him to play for West Ham forever. He's one of the best young players I've seen in my lifetime come through. I miss Joe Cole and Lampard and Ferdinand. So in my lifetime, he's the most talented individual that's come through the academy. Because he did. Because he left you lot and then he come through our academy. And
he left when he was 14. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And I think it's just about the price tag. If I'm honest, it is just about the price tag. The problem is with West Ham, and I think this is the dynamic, and I say to Matisse all the time, I know people have little variations on what they think he's worth. It doesn't matter because he's West Ham's prized asset. So in terms of value, we are going to charge a premium. That's inevitable. The other thing to remember, exactly. Well, look, I mean, you've seen it with Jack Grealish. That was really clever business. What Aston Villa did with putting the release clause in, and I really like the logic behind it. I'm not sure we'll get the same from our owners, which is the second point. These owners, and you've seen it with the Zouma news that's obviously come out. It's been on and off, etc. I don't know if these owners can risk selling Declan Rice for under the premium that West Ham fans rate him at, that the premium that David Moyes rates him at. David Moyes has been on record to say he's almost unsellable. So exactly. So that's the thing where I think, I know you've got Marina and all these type of things, and I know it's, she's the golden girl, but the dynamic at West Ham with the fans is what will make it difficult for him to get out of West Ham for the price that you'd want him. I agree with you. When you talk about value for money, I've got to agree with you a little bit because I can see where you're coming from. You've got Kante, who's arguably one of the best midfielders in Europe. Jorginho, another one. Kovacic, a fantastic player. And you're kind of going, fourth choice, well, I'm not sure, do we need to spend that much money? For me, obviously, Declan's the star on our side. He would have to play week in, week out. So even me looking at it thinking, he's got to play. He can't go to Chelsea for 20-25 games. Next summer, I hope there's a bidding war. I think that's the best way West Ham will get the most out of Chelsea because I think he wants to go to Chelsea. I don't think there's any denying that he is a Chelsea fan, and it hurts me. It does. I think he's got a lot of respect for West Ham, and he genuinely, his relationship with the fan base is exceptional. And when you're at the ground like I was on Monday, you feel it. I think if Manchester United come in with the pressure, and look, they need a defensive midfielder that, with all due respect to Freddie, can't pass 5 yards unless it's out of play. And then you've got Manchester City. And I think Declan Rice for Manchester City would be incredible.
I feel if he goes to Man United, he elevates that team unbelievably because of the way Man United kind of plays. And I know I've heard you many a times, Corey, say that people disrespect Declan Rice with his ball playing ability, his ability to carry the ball. I think they do. And at times, maybe I have disrespected as well in that particular perspective. He has 100% improved that side of his game a lot. I think people kind of get caught up with the whole England situation with the Southgate stuff, how he didn't, distribute the ball that often enough. But I think that might have been a bit of an instruction. Who knows? I don't know. And also, let's be honest, not everyone out there, besides obviously the West Ham fans, don't always get to watch West Ham matches. So they don't know the plethora of matches that Declan Rice has played and where he's played so well. Yeah,
this is the problem. My personality is I'm not gonna big up a player if I don't feel that they're good, and I'm not gonna lie. And the fact I've seen this guy for 5 years, and now I'm seeing him in person, he's even better. He's even better. There's no doubt that he's improved, and that's the thing that gets me with Declan is the rate of improvement. It isn't just he's come back from the Euros, and some of the football he's playing in the final third. He got the assist the other day for our third goal. Yeah. How comfortable he's in possession. He's taking his time now to pick the right pass. He's trying to become a number 8. He really is trying to become a number 8. I think obviously his defensive capabilities. I think he cut out 3, 4, 5
he
passes.
can score goals as well, Corey. He's a goal scorer. Like he's got decent technique when it comes to shooting.
He can, but again, I always look at it and think, I don't think Dec really needs to add goals to his game. I think if the criticism was the passing, right? The criticism was the passing. I honestly think he tries to play through the lines every time at pace and zings it into an Antonio or a Benrahma. I genuinely think he tries to do that. And he hasn't had that. You've got to remember, he's been a centre-back, a defensive midfielder. Now Moyes is letting him be a number 8. And it's interesting what you say about Southgate, because I always thought that Calvin Phillips should be the number 6 and Declan Rice should be the number 8 in that double pivot.
I always thought that as well, man. Always.
I thought it was logical, but clearly Southgate thought, and I think Declan was playing a role in a position, and his best attribute out of all his attributes, his reading of the game, particularly when he's sitting between centre-backs and understanding that space, that's where he's at his best. Difference is, now he's starting to drive forward with the ball and he's being more progressive. So he's a multifaceted player. I think it'd be interesting to see him. Again, I don't want to say it'd be interesting to see him Man United. I don't want to see him at any other club at all. But whether he plays in a single pivot or a double pivot, because as a pivot, I think there's a lot more pressure on him. I think, for me personally, if you're just playing as a number 6, you've got to be really technically astute. You look at Verratti, players like that. Whereas I think Declan, with another player alongside him, absolutely thrives because he's got the license to go and win the ball, break up play, and progress. So, conundrum.
There's a reason why he said Kante is someone that he looks up to. So, when you look at N'Golo Kante, he also likes to play in a pivot with someone next to him who can do all of that, predominantly the ball sort of movement and, the build up. And not to say that Kante is not good on the ball. He's fairly decent as well. But I think Declan Rice wants to sort of develop his game on that Kante-esque sort of style where you're a ball winner, you're a destroyer, but you can carry the ball as well, have those, dynamic runs through midfield. But I do want to talk about this though. Apparently, and I want to hear from you if this is true or not, apparently he's been a bit upset lately that West Ham are holding him off for that 100 million price tag. He's also recently, I don't think he's done a contract extension, in terms of wages as well. It's not up to the mark. I don't even think he cares about the wages. I think he does want to slowly think about moving away and getting into either Chelsea, most probably Chelsea, outside chance Man United. But are these rumours true that he's a bit upset with the club, that the club is holding him at that 100 million, that he probably thinks that's not fair? They're pricing him out.
I'm not ICK, so I don't know for sure, obviously. But I don't expect him to sign a contract with extended years on it. I think there was a concern about the wages. The wages, and I don't know what they are, he should be West Ham's highest earner. It shouldn't even really be, there should be absolutely no debate. We've had problems with wages as well. We've got Vladimir Soufal at right back, who arguably was one of the better right backs in the league last season. He hasn't got a pay rise. He's so, I just done a stream, so underrated, honestly. Yeah. Underrated maybe because he plays for West Ham and we're sort of underneath the radar, but as a player, as a right back, so well-rounded. He's obviously come to the league late. But Declan, I think he probably does. I mean, you look at Harry Kane, obviously today, pretending that he wants to stay at Tottenham.
By the way, what a slap in the face for Man City.
I'm just laughing because of the PR spin. I mean, that tweet when he said, I'm dedicated to Tottenham. No, you're not, mate. Be honest. Levy didn't let you go and you thought you had a gentleman's, and now I've got to stay. And then all the Tottenham fans be going, he's one of our own. It's just.
And did you hear about Pep Guardiola as well? On top of that he's probably leaving next season. This is his final season.
I saw something like that. Yeah.
That's incredible. What's going on?
If he gets Ronaldo, they might be all right. And apparently that's a serious rumor. But on the point of contracts, I think people have mentioned Zaha before and Harry Kane, and Harry Kane's been silly, and let's be honest, he's timed up to a 6-year deal with no hope of getting out. And Declan's he's smart, but the one thing I like about him is he's respectful. Like, he understands the dynamic, and I think he has made the right choice, if I'm honest, staying at West Ham for another year, because you look at our squad spirit, the way that we're developing, the way that we played against Leicester. There's no reason why West Ham can't compete for a Europa League spot. I mean, squad depth is incredibly limited, and I'm sure we'll find that out. But as a first 11, I think he's in good hands. And David Moyes loves him, absolutely loves him.
Yeah, man. It's incredible the chemistry David Moyes has with Declan Rice. It's also incredible the chemistry the fan base has with Declan Rice, knowing that you guys won't be able to hold him on. He is going to move on. Just quickly before we move on from the Declan Rice situation and talk about the Zouma thing, and then we'll talk about a whole heap of West Ham that we need to talk about.
Yeah, no worries.
You guys are doing some insane stuff at the moment. And I believe you guys are in Europe as well, right? You guys ended up coming 5th last season.
Don't pretend like you didn't know we finished 6th last year. We were 2 points off you lot. If Declan had been fit and we had beaten Newcastle, and I think if we hang on against Arsenal like we should have done,
you guys would have come
and League Gunner somewhere buzzing because we bottled a 3-0 lead, But in all seriousness, we would have been fourth. So, that's how mad that season was.
I love how you just got me out like that. Don't pretend you don't know nothing about this.
We're creep. Even I was at the game. I was at the game on Monday, and obviously the Club's Carnage WhatsApp group was kicking off. Oh, Benrahma this, Benrahma that. I was going, you lot, there's eyes. Got Leeds fans and Chelsea fans. You know what's going on at West Ham at the minute. You can't ignore it, really. Like when you get 4 goals like that. So
I've got a story about Benrahma, and I'll share that with you soon. But yeah, going back to the whole Declan Rice situation before we move on to the next one. I mean, do you feel this is the last one? I also feel like it's inevitable that this guy will move on. I mean, it's written in the stars. He wants Chelsea so bad, it's not even funny. Chelsea fans predominantly want him as well. I don't know if you're aware, we're doing a bit of a deal with Saul at the moment, Saul Niguez. And it seems to be an option deal, loan option deal. And I know Atletico Madrid is trying to put on an obligation to buy. We're trying to squeeze out of it. And it makes me feel like we're trying to do that because we're trying to have that spot for Declan Rice, maybe a Shermani, but I think it's going to be Declan Rice because Thomas Tuchel really, really likes this player as well now. There's been lots of reports from Matt Law and many others saying Tuchel's
Matt Law does like to talk about Declan Rice a lot, doesn't he?
He does, man. He does. But yeah, Thomas Tuchel really wants him as well. That's his first choice. So from your perspective, do you think this is the last dance for Declan Rice for West Ham?
I'm gutted. I mean, we've got Mark Noble retiring at the end of the year and Declan, and that could be a double whammy in one window. So I think so. Look, I mean, the one thing West Ham fans are is I personally think we're honest. I don't know about your engagement with them, but we are very realistic as a club. And I think like every time I've been on a show, I can't believe we're competing at the level we are. And I watch a lot of football. Declan Rice is a phenomenal. He played against Ndidi the other day. The comparison for me, you look at well-rounded defensive midfielders. I honestly think Declan Rice is another level. Like I think, when he's that age, he's too good. And I just feel that he's genuinely one of them players. And I know you class Chelsea as a bit of a super club now. You've won 2 Champions Leagues, but when we talk about a Bayern Munich or a Chelsea or clubs like that, I think his ceiling is there. And so, listen, I'm going to say we got fortunate. I mean, David Moyes did an absolute miracle last year, but that for West Ham to have done that well last year convinced him to stay. Because had we not, I think he would have left. But I think it's inevitable. I've just always said it's the money. For me, it's the money, and then it's the rebuild, and it's the recruitment from West Ham. Because there's no reason why West Ham should fall off a cliff just because Declan Rice has left. With the right recruitment, the right recruitment and the right support, which is
you guys got Souček, who's a fantastic player as well. There's another superstar building there. You've talked about Sufa. Like there's a lot of incredible players that's happening there. Benrahma,
Zouma,
we'll touch on. Zouma. Do you know what I mean? So you've got no. If David Moyes is still in the helm and you guys make sure the recruitment money that you get from Declan Rice is well used for the next big thing, why not? I mean, there's a ton of superstar DMs that are lurking around in the French league. So I'm pretty sure you guys can pluck one of them out, and I'm sure they'll probably become your next big asset again. And then, sooner or later, you'll see Man United circling again, Man City circling again.
Well, look, it's a valid point, and I always say, with Declan, people say about the price tag. I said, even if we got 80, 85 mil, and that inevitably, if West Ham were really hard on that mark, then that could possibly happen, or you could put people in positions. We're not going to buy a midfielder for 85 mil as a total fund. Exactly. So there's only one route when you get that money, and it's being smart in the market and picking and getting value for money and really building the squad. So it's a tough spot, and it is weird. It's such a weird sort of relationship in a way, because it's like he feels like one of your own because he has come through your academy and we've seen him grow and develop. And it's like, but it's been they've been West Ham for a long time. Players come through and they leave, and they've got an affinity. Joe Cole did exactly the same.
You guys have developed him. To be honest, we did not believe in him. That's why we let him go, and you guys picked him up and you gave him that second chance in life, and he's absolutely killed it. So. He's as much as yours as he's ours. Let's keep it at that, and I think he appreciates that as well. By the way, I had a funny moment with Declan Rice I need to share with you. Last season, Frank Lampard first season, when we had the transfer ban, at the end, there was rumors that Declan Rice was going to come in because we got out of the transfer ban and we were looking to do madness. We bought a whole heap of players, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Ethan Ampadu was rumored to either stay or go on a loan. And then he ended up going on a loan to Sheffield United. And Alex Goldberg, as you know, he's a massive fan of Declan Rice. I think he's also got him on WhatsApp and whatnot. Like, he directly talks to Declan Rice. Commented that something about Declan Rice, right? And I then commented below that, Ethan Ampadu is now leaving, so it looks like Declan Rice to Chelsea is probably happening. I woke up that morning because I did that late night, so it was about UK afternoon. I woke up and I saw Declan Rice liked my tweet, my reply. He liked it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I see on my notification, Declan Rice liked my tweet that Ethan Ampadu is going on a loan and Declan Rice is coming to Chelsea. So I then took a screenshot of that and then tweeted it out. What is going on here? Declan Rice liking my tweet. Yeah. And then Declan Rice DM'd me. He actually DM'd me saying, mate, I didn't mean it that way. I absolutely, admire Ethan Ampadu. That was a mistake, da-di-da-di-da. And I didn't show all of that stuff because Simon Phillips is another sort of reporter within our Chelsea fan base. He apparently sent that because Simon retweeted my initial tweet, and then Declan Rice reached out to him as well. So I didn't do that. And then since then, I've got the DMs open now with Declan Rice, and it's a one-way conversation. I talk to Declan Rice, he never replies.
Declan, when are you coming? Just like, no.
When he was playing for England, I was like, good luck, Declan. Hope you play well. And then he no replies. I'm like, Declan, please just reply once. Please just reply.
You have to get it on. No, I mean, the one thing about Declan is, again, when he, feels like when he leaves, he sort of treats the situation with respect, which I genuinely believe that he will. I just think that he does have a lot of respect and time for West Ham. He definitely has an affinity with the fans. And as long as that's not fractured in any way, and it's a bit like Grealish to some degree, where he's left Aston Villa and he's confirmed that they've got that price tag for him. That would be the ideal situation, I think. And on the social media point, I don't think that's for football players these days, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of frustrating when you see him with Didier Drogba and players like that. Oh, please don't, because I know what you Chelsea fans are like. He'll get pulled up and retweeted all over the place. But he's a character. Like, he genuinely is. He's a great personality as well. So I'm not surprised, mate. I'm not surprised you've been in the old DMs trying to convince him to turn up.
I might ask him, should I take him up on FPL? I might do that later today because I've got the DM still open, so I can spam him as much as I want. Let's talk about Kurt Zouma. I just saw a recent report saying Kurt Zouma is doing level best to make this happen. West Ham is doing level best to make this happen. Somewhere around 25 million pounds, euros. I don't really know. I think it's pounds. For me personally, I know we're going to talk about the Kurt Zouma situation and how you feel about it. But for me, honestly, Corey, that is a steal and a half at 25 million, man. Because when I see Ben White at 50 million, and I think Ben White's a decent defender, but there is no way. If Zouma was in Brighton, Zouma starts ahead of Ben White. If Zouma was in Arsenal, Zouma starts ahead of Ben White. I can't believe the price tag that he slapped. And I can understand to a point where obviously he hasn't featured for Chelsea. Every club knows he's not fancied by our gaffer. So there's that, financial weakness for us that other clubs like West Ham knows you guys want to get rid of Zouma. So we're not going to give you what you want. You're playing on our grounds now. So I think it's a bit of a steal. There's a bit of disrespect at times from our fan base that, Zuma's not that great, da-di-da-di-da. I saw Lee Gunner yesterday in the London Clubs Carnage having a go that he does have the lapses of concentration, which he does. But in a back four, Corey, if he's in that mood and he gets into that zone, and I'm sure David Moyes will probably do that, I think he becomes one of the top-notch defenders in the Premier League. So how do you feel about this one, by the way?
It's strange because before Moyes come in, you look at probably just because of my age and I'm just growing up, but you kind of look at every target and you think, people will immediately go, he's not good or he's this. But with David Moyes, has he got the raw attributes for David Moyes to mould him? Can he fit within our system? Can he do this? Can he do that? And for what people will perceive it as negatives, I said to Matisse earlier, David Moyes works with strengths. That's why West Ham are where we are, because we work to the team's strengths. Yes, players like Benrahma, Fornals, they have to work hard. It's not natural for attacking midfielders to possibly do that amount of hard work, but you do get the best out of them. And defensively as well, I think Ogbonna is a really good partner for him. And I know it goes under the radar, and maybe if you're a top six club, you think, who's Ogbonna? But honestly, he's absolutely outstanding. Particularly in the last 18 months, I think Ogbonna's leadership's been unreal. He's reading the game, he's understanding. He does a lot of organisation with Craig Dawson. Now, Craig Dawson has got his limitations, and obviously Zouma is an upgrade on him. But Ogbonna, you look at the way we played against Leicester in terms of the line setting back, trying to deal with Vardy playing on the shoulder.
It's a physical partnership, man. It's a very physical partnership.
Well,
tall as well, Ogbonna.
Well, the fact that Zouma is so aerially dominant is a huge factor. And I saw a stat saying he's more dominant than Dawson and Ogbonna, and those two really are imperious in the air. And I think, you got a double pivot with all due respect of Rice and Souček. Now, if I'm imagining West Ham and we want to be more progressive, it's so important we have a centre-back that's athletic. A lot of Chelsea fans have mentioned his recovery pace, things like that. Exactly.
Number one recovery pace.
And the way that we're playing this season, we are conceding more goals, but it's because West Ham want to get Soufal, Creswell further forward, break down low blocks. So Zouma actually, from a defensive point of view, is actually important offensively. Yeah. Exactly. So, and I look at the protection in front of him. Declan will sit back at times between him. You spread the centre-backs wide. He'll have options. And his decision-making process isn't what Tuchel will demand of him. Tuchel's an absolute genius. I've got to be honest. With the way you control games is fantastic. But the pressure on Zouma to pick the right pass, and I saw it against Arsenal last season, when he's panicked. But as long as he's making... I don't think Moyes will mind him going long at times. We've got Mikel Antonio to work into. We're not going to play out the way that you play through the press. We play quite laterally. So it's as decision-wise, it's brilliant. And for 25 million, it is an improvement. We do need it. I'm sure we'll talk later about the fact that we need a striker and, the fact that we probably need another midfielder. But really happy with it. And his personality is huge. And we've got a couple of French-speaking players within the squad. I think that's really important as well. And he's got Prem experience. So from my point of view, I can't really criticise it. There'll be West Ham fans going, why didn't you get Milenkovic, etc., etc. But the minute I heard his name, I thought, that's a brilliant signing. Get him in. And
Premier League winner, Champions League winner. I think he's got like an FA Cup runners-up. I think Carabao Cup winner as well. I mean, there's a wealth of experience that Zouma is going to bring in, and I think you guys are going to be so much benefited off that. I mean, he definitely starts for you. That's what you're saying, right, Corey? Like, he definitely starts in as a starter.
Absolutely.
So Ogbonna and Zouma are going to be the partnership that you're thinking, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I like Craig Dawson. I actually slated Craig Dawson when he signed and he got clipped up because obviously he started scoring goals around January time. But yeah, I think Zouma's just a natural upgrade. And I think a lot of West Ham fans will admit that. And he's 26. He's coming into
I don't even think he's in his peak yet. Like, exactly. His prime would probably be around 28 for a CB.
Exactly. And I've seen him struggle in a back three. I have against Southampton. I do get that. I just think there's something to be said about coaching. I'm sure there's a lot of Chelsea players that you can name that have improved under Tuchel. And I think it's very similar for West Ham. Arsenal struggle. I know they won 6-0 tonight, but some of their players don't look like they're being properly coached. And Zouma is a player that I feel that can go to another level. And if he gets, listen, if we bag serious clean sheets next season and he scores 5 goals from set pieces, again, another area.
See, that's what you're going to get from Zouma. Not just, I think it's so well put by you that you guys, the way you play the style, it doesn't demand that you have to play out from the back. With hook or crook, you're not going to be able to go long. You need to play out and beat the press. I love the fact that he doesn't have to do that on a regular basis. Every now and then, maybe whenever he feels comfortable, but he does have that outlet to go long because you guys got a monster up front, Antonio, which we'll talk about as well. But yeah, it does suit his game style and it does suit David Moyes as well. And I think it's perfect case scenario, to be honest. And, Zouma, he's not going to be playing much. Koundé seems to be done for us as well. 42 million, apparently we're going to get that done. Zouma, in that perspective.
That's why I think the deal's pretty much done. Like, I think this is all a smoke and mirrors because I don't think Chelsea would go and you'd even start hearing transfer fees if that money wasn't. That's why West Ham, you never really understand it. For us to do business is virtually impossible. Like, the amount of things get thrown at us. But just because of the dynamics, just because of the Koundé understanding, I think he gets done. I think he's a West Ham player. And I'm buzzing as well that he does want to join the club. I think that's a massive thing. Look at West Ham's, look at the recruitment from West Ham. Soufal wants to play. Bowen's young and hungry and coming up. Obviously, Lingard had a point to prove. These are players that actually want to play for us. Areola, exactly the same. So it's important that we have a group of ambitious players that want to kick on. And I think for Zouma to have regular first team football, which I think he'll get, his game will go to another level. And if he gets a year under his belt, and he starts. You look at Benny this year already. You see what I'm saying? The development is already there. So
exactly, and I think he's got ambitions to play for France. So the only way you're going to play for France is you got to play on a regular basis. So I think he gets that with West Ham. And as you said, the aerial ability, you're going to add goals up front from set pieces. I kid you not, you're guaranteed at least 5 to 6 goals a season from this bad boy from aerial threat. So that's
our set pieces are going to be disgusting. Souček, Zouma, it's going to be horrible for some teams to deal with. Honestly, I feel sorry for him. Kind of.
Oh, especially Chelsea, man. Every time I play you guys, I keep thinking, here we go. Souček is going to, end one in the back of the net from one of those set pieces. But let's talk now about West Ham in detail. I mean, you guys have literally a couple of seasons ago, relegation battling side. Last season, madness, total madness. The game, you guys played some proper good football as well. You caught a lot of people's eyes, even mine. I started watching some West Ham games later in the season, and I've got to be honest, I don't watch too much of it. To keep up with Chelsea is hard enough as a married man, kid, and whatnot.
Yeah, imagine, man.
Like, that's hard enough. And every now and then I do get to watch Leeds because I love the way Leeds play. So I watched Leeds. But last season I was watching a lot of West Ham as well. And now this season I'm very much interested about Said Benrahma. Let's start with Said Benrahma, right? I did a video it's almost been 2 years now, when he was rumored with Chelsea. He was in Brentford. He was rumored with Chelsea for momentarily. And I did a video, and that's what shot my YouTube channel. So I always got to thank Said Benrahma.
Shot mine up as well, mate, when he signed.
So I remember that one. I had about like 500 subscribers. I ended up getting like 10K likes because I did a video on Said Benrahma, and I full bigged him up and everything. And then obviously he signed for you guys, which I just wanted him to come to the Premier League. Because he was just way too good for the Championship. You can clearly see. And then obviously last season, there isn't time for adaptation. You do need that Championship to the Premier League. It is a big jump. Then obviously Jesse Lingard came in and absolutely tore it apart from January onwards. So he was a little bit overshadowed. But this season, I tell you where it clicked for me, Corey. It's that preseason goal where he just took that shot. He cut in and he snapped shot and took a shot outside of the box and got the right top-hand corner, which was unbelievable. I can't remember who he scored that against, but he hit like a rocket.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Brentford.
yeah. He didn't celebrate either, to be fair.
And I thought, you know what? Boy, this guy's going to have a season. And already, I believe, 2 goals, 2 assists as well this season already against Newcastle and Leicester.
I think so, yeah.
What's going on with Said Benrahma? Do you reckon this is going to be the breakout? This is going to be the big player for this season?
Yeah, no, he's quite a... When we signed him, he's a polarizing character because I think there are some football fans out there that think, he's a fantastic trickster and he does this, that, and the other. And I've always been one where, particularly with players, you've got to give him time. I've got to see what they do. And the worry about Benrahma was, can he work hard off the ball? Because you come from a Brentford side that was 4-3-3, where you'd always be predominantly on the left. You would always be given the license to cut in. And the Prem's different as well. So new formation, new team, new league. And for me, he showed work rate off the ball. And there was a genuine willingness there to try and adapt within the side. He wasn't getting the game time regularly, which I think the way that we did play, very much low block, counter-attack, it didn't quite suit him yet. But I remember watching him against Leeds away, and you give that guy space, honestly, he's just absolutely unbelievable. And even then, to a degree, he'd have cameos where he'd have a really poor 20 minutes at the end of the game, and people would say, why have we signed him for 25 mil? I said, there's something about this player where I feel that he can work in transitions effectively. He can beat players. There is a player there that West Ham can use, but he just has to be more decisive. Pre-season, he clearly wants to be there. I think that's a really big thing because Benrahma, I understand, probably would have been really frustrated looking on with the way that West Ham played and Lingard in front of him. I tell you what, the biggest difference is, and I saw it in the Celtic game when we beat them 6-2. And it just sort of clicked for him, I think. And I just pointed it out, and people said, no, he doesn't run in beyond. I said, watch it. And again, Newcastle scores a header from running in beyond the box. And literally, all he was doing was he understood how our attacking midfielders work. Mikel Antonio is so unconventional that he'll come out to the left or he'll come deep. But Fornals, Bowen, and Lingard at the time needed to get forward and beyond. The minute Benrahma understood that offensively he could offer more in terms of supporting runs, all of a sudden he's getting goal-scoring opportunities. All of a sudden he's using his technical ability, and now everyone's talking him up. But for me, he's just understood how this side operates. And even, I thought it was really interesting against Leicester because I personally feel in the number 10, he's sensational. I think with the pockets of space that he picks up and how he manoeuvres and the way that we get our attacking midfielders working with one another, he's brilliant. But he played on the left and I thought he can get isolated. Is he going to get frustrated? But he picks his moments. Last season, I want to take on every player. I understand you can do that. I understand you can nutmeg 3 players and put it in the top corner. But I think with Moyes as well, he has to trust him. And at times when I was at the game, playing the simple pass back to Creswell, and we're playing out from the press, and he would wait, and then in the transitions, he'd start linking up. So I think his understanding of what Moyes wants for him has improved. He's understood what this team needs, but I've never doubted his ability, never. And that's why I said there's a lot of pressure on him this season to go and start to produce numbers, but I think he can do it. And look, the same for Fornals, it's the same for Jarrod Bowen. There's always a question mark, can they be consistent? Fornals has been brilliant. Bowen, I think, can take his game to another level. And Benrahma's turned up.
Top player, man. You guys got another top player there with Bowen.
He's a player that I think if he can be a little bit more composed in one-on-ones, he gets 10 to 15 goals, genuinely, because his feet are unbelievable. He works so hard off the ball. And he's another player. Benrahma had to get up to speed, but Bowen works incredibly hard off the ball, presses really well. It's just the end product. I honestly think this season, it's all clicking in the attacking midfield for us. That's the difference. And that's why we'll score loads of goals.
And you guys are starting to scare me a little bit. I didn't want to put West Ham into the mix, but I mean, let's be honest. Firstly, just quickly on Benrahma, just to wrap things up on that. And I feel like he's got that X factor. Like, there's a lot of criticism at times about Hakim Ziyech in our team, where he could look like he's a bit lethargic, he's not moving that well. But this season, he's incredible pressing, counter-pressing. He was always like that for Ajax, but there's always a need for adaptation. Last season, I mean, you can't just expect a player like Hakim Ziyech to leave everything, leave family, come in during this pandemic in a new country and just expect everything to click. He had the injuries as well. So I think similarly with Benrahma as well, there's that adaptation period, but I feel like he's an X factor for you guys. He could go the whole game looking like he hasn't done anything, but it's that one, snapshot, one pass, one dribble, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes to break things open. So I feel like he's a big X factor player for you guys. I mean, that's how you feel as well, right?
Yeah, no, I've got one eye on the Carabao Cup draw as well. I'm thinking, I just want a home game. No, I completely agree, and I think it's interesting at West Ham's side that we have to work so hard off the ball. Like, it's not... He has got those sort of snapshot moments where he can change a game. That's why you want him in the side. But overall, for the full 90, Moyes almost overlooks it in favour of the whole picture. And I think that's why West Ham have overperformed, because the whole team, even outside of their remit, work hard. And then when you just add that quality and that composure... Again, look, no one's doubting Benrahma's quality. There's absolutely no question for me that he can go and pull off 10 goals, 10 assists. I genuinely believe that he can do that. And as a West Ham fan, we normally get players like that. We've had Payet, we get Mavericks, Di Canio, all those type of players.
By the way, I'll watch Payet live. One of the very few games, I was 2015-16 season. I was in Upton Park. I think it's still called Upton Park, right? Or you guys are in somewhere else now? I'm completely lost.
London Stadium, mate.
London Stadium.
I love Upton Park.
I was in Upton Park, and it was West Ham versus Liverpool. You guys beat Liverpool 2-0, and Payet came off the bench. He just came back from injury. My days, that was electric that day, man. And the West Ham fans, our stadium is incredible. I still remember sitting down where I was sitting. There was block of buildings right behind, and there were people from the balcony watching the match because you can look down on the stadium. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. You got the flats on the corner. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got the flats, and literally people are hanging off the balcony and watching the match. But yeah, man, Dimitri Payet, as you said, you guys always had that X factor player, and I think this is one. You guys still going for Jesse Lingard, by the way?
Yeah, hopefully. Look, I'm not sure. I always kind of hedge my bets and say that he will come back to West Ham. And I got slightly dug out by the last stream because I said, all right, if it goes wrong, you've said he will come back to West Ham. I just said I think he'll leave Manchester United. I can't for the life of me see why, if he gets to January, that he's still there. But I'd love to have him back. I think he must look at how we played on Monday and think, I'll tell you what, I fancy a little bit of that. Because he would thrive. And it
doesn't fit Man United. He doesn't fit Man United.
He doesn't, and it disappointed me a little bit when I watched him come on and last 4 minutes, and he's going to pick up the ball off the left back, and I was just thinking, Jesse, come on, you're better. When he joined West Ham, when he was in his purple patch, I've just realised we've got Man United away in the third round of the Carabao Cup.
That's going to be a mad match. Don't be worried about that, man. I think you guys can take them on.
Yeah, sorry, man. That was a completely
Is that a home game, by the way, or away?
Is that Man United? Typical.
Ooh.
Yeah, trust them lot. Look, it's going to be tough for us this season anyway with the Europa. But, speaking of Jesse Lingard, obviously Man United, I don't know.
Spices things up a little bit, yeah.
I hope he comes back. I think it's a shame for him. Look, even if he doesn't come to West Ham, I actually think I can't believe how wrong I got him as a football player. I genuinely cannot. I put an apology video out halfway through the 3 months. I said
I didn't think much of Jesse Lingard either, man. I was like, this guy's washed up. Like when all he does is dance.
Exactly. Well, that's what I thought. I was like, oh God, we got to have this guy that does the dance. But when he plays for you and he's doing that, he's doing Jay Lings against Spurs. Then all of a sudden it's a bit different. But he's, even come on the other day and he's dropping too deep and he just wants to impress in 4 minutes. And when Lingard was so prominent for West Ham, it's when he would get in those half spaces as a number 10 and on the transition he'd get beyond Antonio. That's when he's absolutely unbelievable. We just want him at the club. I do want him at the club, but I don't want to get too attached because I think a lot of West Ham fans are attached to him. I've kind of sort of bookmarked it and said, you know what? He's not going to come. But we have to move on. But who knows? Who knows? We're in a position where we've got Europa League football, cup competitions coming out of our ears. We do need a sign-in. So if we could get some kind of squad depth in, that'd be really nice so we can try and actually compete. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, mate.
Let's finally talk about this to wrap things up. I mean, I feel like you do need a bit of depth. Obviously, you're in Europe. I'm sure you're going to be trying your level best in the domestic cups as well. I don't get disheartened one bit about Man United. I've got every belief that you guys will go toe-to-toe, depending on how Man United also shape up. I'm not really sure whether they're going to have their first team playing in the Carabao Cup. They've probably got Champions League games in and around those times as well, Premier League that they need to prioritise. So you guys are a good shout on this. I feel, besides the top four, you got your cities, Liverpool, Man United, and obviously us. Outside of that, I reckon you guys are level game for anyone out there. I can't think of one team. You guys put away Leicester the other day. And let's be honest, a lot of people have been saying that Leicester are probably the next big team to break the top four. And you guys absolutely pasted them. Albeit there was a red card and whatnot. But whatever, you got to still do your job, and you've done the job. I don't think Spurs now, okay, with Kane maybe being there, who knows? But I think you can go toe-to-toe against Spurs. And you guys have shown that last season anyway, that you can go toe-to-toe. There was that epic comeback 3-3. I still remember, I think Spurs were 3-0 up and you guys came back 3-3.
Toby doesn't forget that one, trust me. He still knows when we did that.
Of course he doesn't.
Only team in Premier League history to come back from 3-0 down after the 80th minute. What a game. It gives me goosebumps, mate. Every time I see that Lanzini goal, I just think, imagine being there.
Unbelievable Lanzini goal. But I think you guys are well ahead of Arsenal. I think you guys will pace them. I can't wait till you guys play Arsenal because that's going to be absolute banter.
Well, good job he's won 6-0 tonight because he's still there. I was telling Lee earlier, I was like, keep him there.
I'll take it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, Corey, where do you picture? Obviously, you got Europe, which I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be doing your level best to do well in that competition as well. Because let's be honest, that's an outside chance of making it into the Champions League as well. I know it's difficult, but there is an outside chance.
In my dreams, yeah.
I mean, for you as well, going as a match-going fan, that's going to be incredible going to European nights as well. Premier League, I feel like you should be in the top 6 conversation. Not top 4, but after that in the top 6. I mean, what is the West Ham fans' expectation for this season?
I don't actually, to be fair, like it's all a bit, my expectation was 9th. I predicted West Ham to be 9th. But hear me out. So I think we're on our day. You've seen that, and the improvement as well has slightly changed my mind as time has gone on. Even in these past couple of games in pre-season, but I think in our first 11, I'm not saying we can go and beat the top 4. I think we can compete, and I think that's why I'm slightly worried about Manchester United. Because the one thing, David, we were the best side. We were the top 6 side last season because we beat the majority of the other 14 teams. In fact, we had 10 points more than those other 14 teams, so we were ahead of them. But it's just that mentality against the bigger sides. But on paper, if we play like we did against Leicester, we'll give anybody a game. But the squad depth is a massive, massive issue. And I trust these. I love this squad of players. I trust this manager almost implicitly. Again, no one's immune to criticism naturally, but he hasn't really given me anything. In fact, we've just improved time on time. So I trust him. It's the squad depth that will let us down. And I think there could be there will be a lull, and it won't be through fault of
And
trying
injuries as well.
That's the thing. Mikel Antonio, when he's on form and
Yeah,
he's
I was
fully
gonna
fit,
say,
is
yeah.
absolutely everything. He's so unique to what he can offer. He's incredibly niche. I'm sure we'll talk about him in a bit more detail. But when he's in, he does get injured. His hamstrings are really vulnerable, and if he's out for 2-3 months, how do West Ham adapt? And that would be my worry. And I think that would be such a shame for West Ham to fall down or be in and around 11th, 10th, maybe 12th if we can't deal with the injuries. But I do feel that we'll bounce back up, because I think the players, once they get fit, we will thrive. So I agree with you. If we were talking about a normal squad, if you said to me, we bring in Zouma and we bring in Lingard and we brought Abraham in, I might be saying to you, no, I think on paper, I actually think we can compete for top 6, but can we do it for 38 games with the Europa League and the cup competitions? And I think the interesting thing about the Europa League is Moyes has a bit of a tendency with the cup competitions, not to throw them, but he uses them as an opportunity to rotate because of our squad depth so poor. Yeah. The Europa League's the one thing, the way he's spoken about it, we don't see why we can't go and compete. I watched us play against that Atlanta. We were absolutely fantastic. I know it's pre-season, but even tactically, we were spot on. I think he'll go for it, but there's going to be a lull. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he does. He brought a lot of youth players in over the summer. Maybe he trusts them with a couple of games. I hope we're all right, mate. I've already booked my Europa League home ticket, so I'm buzzing to get there, and the atmosphere will be electric. But that's my only concern. But
man.
Who knows, mate? Who knows? Look, listen, were we supposed to be 6th last year? No. So anything can happen, man.
100%, man. That's one team I definitely will follow in Europa League. It'll be incredible to see how you guys do there. I think, as you said, let's talk quickly on Antonio, about Mikel Antonio. I feel like if you guys can keep him fit, Corey, this guy's a monster up front. There is no one who holds up the play as well. Obviously, now we've got Romelu Lukaku. So he's,
the only other one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's an absolute. He's on a different level. The way he disrespected, abused, violated Murray.
He dragged him from the halfway line into the box.
He grabbed Murray and said, "Come along for a ride." And oh my God, if I'm Murray, I wouldn't look at the videos for that particular match, because he got embarrassed as a professional footballer. That's incredible. But I feel like Antonio, he's caused a lot of problem for us as well. Every time he's played against us, he's caused massive problems. The way he holds up, his physical strength, but it's his pace as well, Corey. He's not slow. He's a quick player, aerial ability. So if you guys can keep him fit, and then you have the Benrahma and maybe a Lingard and your Lanzini and Fornals and all of those players, Souček always chips in with goals. That's tasty. So, I mean, that's important, right? To ensure that Mikel Antonio just stays fit.
How? It's like the impossible question, isn't it? Like, how do you keep that? And I think Moyes rushed him back last season because he started on fire, obviously, and we missed him, and we had Allaire in, and the whole game completely changed. We couldn't function correctly. The counterattacks, with all due respect to Sebastian Allaire, a decent technical footballer.
I can't believe he didn't work out, man. I seriously can't believe he didn't work out. That's sad.
Well, yeah, maybe for you, but for me, why we paid 45 million, I mean, it kind of beggars belief a little bit. So, but look, I mean, Antonio is built for this side, and Moyes has built the side around him and what he can do. And I think everything, when you watch him play, you think he's not technically that great, but actually, when you sort of break it down, hold up play, aerial ability, the fact that he's played in the wide areas, so he can dribble, he drives with the ball, and I think that's all we need. Like last season, West Ham create chances, and I've always said, like, even when we didn't have Mickey in the side, I thought, as long as we can take our chances, we'll be okay. When we got Mickey in, we're scoring 4 goals. So it's one of them things where, listen, if we keep him fit, I think he could go and bag 15 goals. I would love him to go and do that, because as a player, and you'll probably feel this with Chelsea, there's nothing better than a player where they just work so hard and they just give everything. And we've got this kind of group of players now where they all work incredibly hard. And Mickey, he's gone from he's played right back, right wing, left back, right wing back.
He's played right back, right? He's played right back.
I watched him play right back, mate. It wasn't pretty, trust me. He didn't belong there. But he's found his home. He's taken the number 9 on the back of his shirt. And I think, keep him fit for a season. Who knows? He made me laugh the other day in his interview with Sky Sports, saying, I can compete. I can. Yeah. He's just a character. So he's maybe an unconventional player, maybe a player that people think, what was this goal about? But don't tell me you didn't watch his second goal with that touch and think, I'll tell you what, there's a player here somewhere. Because that's
100%,
just,
100%.
love him. Absolutely
100%.
love him, mate.
By the way, how was it in the ground? Because I know you went to the match.
Oh,
Against
mate.
Leicester, when
My
you were
days.
celebrating with his own cutout. Like, how was that? What was the reaction of the fans?
You know what, Miz? It was so good to just be back in the ground. If I'm honest, like it's the first season I've been a season ticket holder, so to get in there and be there week in week out with the fixtures we've got coming up, and even before the game, we tried to get into a pub and it was rammed at like 5 o'clock, and the game starting at 8, and it was just like the whole area was bouncing. And
it's
listen,
it's like a festival, isn't it?
Honestly, like I think West Ham fans, like, in terms of loyalty, are some of the best fans, and when we're all on song, and it's been nice actually because we've got problems with the board and it has been toxic before, but no one can tell me that when we're all in there singing Forever Blowing Bubbles and you've got a team like that the team aren't going to get behind it. And I think in those bigger games, maybe against you lot and Manchester City or whatever, that atmosphere, it does count for something. But honestly, I couldn't get in. It took me 10 minutes to get in because the tickets didn't work. And then scored the first goal, obviously. The VAR one was mad because, again, a lot of people say you don't really know what the hell's going on. And it was so innocuous. No one went, he's literally nearly broken Fornals' ankle. Goes over and you think changes, but I didn't see the cutout. I'm gutted, man. I didn't see because it's all limbs anyway. The hands going everywhere, and they're in the corner. I was just honestly just to be there, and it took me about an hour and a half to get home, and it's only a 45-minute train, so it tells you everything you need to know about that ground. It was lovely, mate. It was lovely.
I remember when I went to Upton Park all those years ago, and it's proper festival when it's match day. It's
Upton Park, mate, was special. It was special. That's a special place, honestly.
It was an incredible stadium, man, and the people were loud. I remember I lived quite when I went over there. I was staying with my cousin's place. I got a lot of family in London, all Arsenal fans as well. So it's a bit tough when I go there. I'm the only Chelsea fan, and all of these Arsenal fans around me. But I remember we went to the West Ham game, and we lived in a place called Surrey, I believe, which is quite far, like outside. Yeah, quite far. And it took about an hour and a bit to get to the stadium. And as we were leaving Surrey and as more people were getting into the train, you could just see everything build up, all West Ham fans building up with their scarves, singing and all that. And I was like, man, that's incredible. It's like a festival. Match day is like a festival. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a game. It's like a day out. It really is.
Oh, mate, honestly, like that's the sad thing about not being there anymore. It was so, yes, okay, it was a bit old and whatever, but it was genuinely the feeling, it was, you go around the corner and you've got a pie and mash shop and fish and chips and burger vans, and it's it's close. It's so close. Us to the pitch is close. You're on them. And I remember going there and we beat Man United 2-1 and they had Ronaldo. And that was Ronaldo when he scored the 40 goals and he missed a pen or whatever. Yeah. And when he missed that penalty, the roof just comes off. And that's the one thing I say about West Ham. I think that's so weird to watch with David Moyes is we'll go and beat the other 14 teams that below us and we'll struggle against the top teams. My whole life has been West Ham losing against Burnley, Norwich, and going to beat Chelsea or Spurs or Man United. And now we're just a completely different. And Upton Park was such a huge part of that because it was when you went there, you knew you was in a game, and when those fans got behind, so it was nice. Listen, now we've got Nando's, and it's not the same. It's not the same, if I'm honest. But I think when the fans are behind you and they've sort of, it takes a while, mate. It's a toxic thing. It's a political thing, yeah.
Like I'm not a West Ham fan. I was just enjoying any Premier League game. What was incredible was when you start seeing the bubbles come out and you go, oh my God, that's exactly what you see on TV. And out of nowhere, the bubble starts coming out and it really just floods the whole stadium. I mean, is it the same in London Stadium as well now with the bubbles coming out before the game?
I have to double check because I didn't get in 10 minutes before the game, but I think I imagine so. That's what I tell people that go, because I did a show with a couple of Leeds fans or whatever, and obviously they've just come up to the Prem and they were like, wait, you sing Forever Blowing Bubbles and you have a bubble machine before the game? I said, yeah. And they said, what's that all about? And I go, well, come down and see it. And then, because it's just one of them things. It's just, it's like you never walk alone and Forever Blowing Bubbles and all those, it's like Chelsea do a bit, play madness after you've won and stuff. It's just it's just that thing in it really. So you just get used to it, man.
100. Corey, thank you so much for the conversation. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. Kurt Zouma probably be West
Be
Ham player. Maybe
happy
who knows
hammer,
by the
mate.
time
He'll be doing that tomorrow, hopefully.
he'll be
Fingers
doing the
crossed.
iron thing. I hope you guys do a good video for him, man. Please do a good video for him when the West Ham admin puts out the notification. I'm sure a lot of Chelsea fans will be watching a lot more, not just for Declan Rice, but now that Kurt Zouma's there, and obviously you guys in Europe, which is going to be fantastic. David Moyes, once again, taking this football club to different levels, which is going to be incredible to see what he does. Yeah, I said it the other day in the London's Club Carnage show. Commented that the whole thing about believing in a process or trusting a project, that is David Moyes. Like that, when people say that, that is what he's doing there. Don't look at what Arteta's doing. That is not a project. That is not a process. What David Moyes is doing, that is more of that. So it's incredible. Like, Corey, any last things you want to say?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You get invited on these shows because now West Ham are fighting with the big boys, so I've kind of had to get used to it. But no, mate, thanks for having me on. It was a good conversation. Obviously, I watched you the everything Chelsea. I still can't remember the name of it, but
all
I do.
You can eat Chelsea. All you can eat.
I've disrespected it. Batiste spends a lot of time putting the thumbnails and everything together, and I can't even call it right. I just know I've got my London Club's Carnage, and that's what I'm on. But no, mate, honestly, it's a pleasure, and I love the stuff you're doing over there.
Thank you, my man. We're going to see a lot more of you. I'm sure when West Ham comes in the Premier League, we're going to talk about it. Everyone, please, firstly, smash the like button. I'm sure you would have enjoyed this conversation. It's been a thrilling conversation for me as well. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and check out all of Corey's socials in the description right now. Twitter, the link, follow straight away. YouTube especially, go out and follow him. As you can see, loveliest content creator, not just a West Ham fan, but an awesome content creator out there. So go out and follow him. Until next time, everyone, take care and see ya.